day before Thanksgiving, Wednesday, the 22nd day of November 2017. And again, you're listening to the Alex Jones Show. I'm your humble host, Alex Jones. But this operation that we're involved in is nothing short of the attempt to not just save Western civilization and the Renaissance, but to save the defense of basic human enlightenment, period. You know, last weekend, we posted videos on INFOWARS.com. Some of them were live feeds of Owen Schroyer, Millie Weaver, Harrison Smith, and others, our crew members out in the streets of Austin, Texas, covering a Hillary Clinton book signing, but also covering a so-called Antifa anti-Trump demonstration. And this stuff just writes itself. No wonder some people think these videos we put out are fake. Because you've got a guy in a chicken suit who can barely talk, gibbering and cussing and threatening people, breaking our microphone and then running with police chasing a guy in a chicken suit like something out of a comedy, but it was serious. I got to say 400, 500 yards with our reporters chasing after the police. It was bike police on bikes chasing the guy on foot. So who can make that up? And the fact that the anti-Trump people are literally drooling zombies. I mean, most of them, they admit, are paid by Soros and the Democratic Party. These are the dregs of the earth. And it's not like just one or two out of the crowd were like that. Every one of these people is like a unspeakably stupid, mindless idiot. And then there were a few well-spoken, nice people there, I guess, who just didn't like Trump. And then they were black folks that were also listeners. So we had those interviews too. And so I could see not liking Trump and not liking Clinton or something, and being a Bernie Sanders guy, so you're out, whatever. And then we've got Millie Weaver, who was also out there, but separately at the book signing. I mean, just every other woman going F you and trying to grab her microphone away as she walks down the sidewalk, just trying to talk to people. They're so programmed that we're so evil at INFOWARS that happened. These people are really screwed up, and it's getting worse. And, you know, I've been around the country and around the world, and you go to some little poor fishing villages in Honduras. The people look alive. They look upright. They look savvy. They look smart. But you go to poor areas of Austin or other areas now, people look like they've been hit with mutation rays. They look like they're dying. They look like they walk like they're zombies. They look like they're zombies. White people, black people, Asian, Hispanic, they look dead. It's not just that they're poor. They're aimless. They're TV heads. Most of them are unemployed. And it just shows you what domestication does to people. And that's why what we're doing is such an important fight, ladies and gentlemen, because the Democratic Party and its constituents are slaves of the system, and the Republican leadership's just as bad or worse. But we're having an insurrection within the Republican Party. So this is such an historical thing we're talking about. You know, with Thanksgiving tomorrow, I'd like to again thank all my listeners for their love and support. As men age, they may often experience a slowdown in vitality, energy, and overall wellness. Super Male Vitality is specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper balance, reduce and produce superior vitality in males. And we rarely have it this special, but I did it recently. People love it. I'm doing it again. Super Male Vitality right now is 50% off with free shipping. And when I did this with 50% off a few months ago, it was not free shipping. So this is as good a deal as we ever do, if not the best. We're also introducing a sales on INFOWARS Life Living Defense. All supplies last. That's been sold out for a while. You can get it for only $22. That's 50% off. It is super high quality. People absolutely love it. Flushes out the parasites. Does so many other amazing things. And the specials for the last 2 days are extended as well, but some of those are about to have to end. Brain Force, 50% off, 25% off Pro Pure items, Silver Bullet, 50% off, Knockout, 50% off. But we're going to have to, again, stop that very, very soon. But the new special right now, again, Super Male Vitality and Living Defense. We'll be back on the other side of this transmission. I want to thank you all for your support. Without you, there is no InfoWar. You're now into hour number 2 for the next 45 minutes or so. Sibel Edmonds, an amazing patriot who served this country honorably, who's one of the highest level whistleblowers ever to expose the stand down of 9/11. Our government working with radical jihad groups in Saudi Arabia. I mean, she's got amazing information. She's got courage, too. She's broken federal gag orders before during Bush and Obama and exposed serious crimes, and they had to back down. And she's a journalist as well, newsbud.com. We're going to be going to her in a moment. Then when she leaves us in the last segment of this hour, I told you it was a hoax at the time, because 99% of the time it was. And I saw how the Air Force responded in a huge PR campaign during the whole NFL anti-Trump race stuff. And so I could just see the packaging. I could see the instant PR, and you know when something's produced, kind of like Hillary did fake town halls. And I said, that's shot 35 millimeter, super HD. It's actors. The media said, Jones claims she has actors. It's fake. Came out a month later, it was all fake. I mean, we all know, like, when you're seeing a Hollywood movie versus real. I mean, unless it's just the best. I got to tell you, watching The People versus O.J. Simpson, sometimes during that Netflix show, the actors were so good that it was like it was real. But it was only part of the show, too. Other parts weren't as good. I mean, you know when something's fake. And it's the same deal. Air Force Academy discovers racial slurs were hoax months after superintendent lauded for tough speech. And I think he or one of his adjuncts is behind it. I mean, I'll just tell you point blank. That's my opinion. Because I saw the whole PR rollout within hours, the way it was all done at the whole peak of the NFL deal. This was deep state PR. This general's anti-Trump. This was a stunt. We know it was fake now. We know somebody pulled it. And I'm saying you're suspect number one, buddy. Continuing, Rand Paul's neighbors say it wasn't a dispute over the grass or the landscaping. The neighbor hated him. The neighbors called for violence against Trump, called for his testicles to be chopped off and all sorts of stuff. And he tackled him from behind and broke 6 of his ribs, we now learn, and punctured his lung. And the left's just celebrating the hell out of that. But his neighbors are now exposing it. Our story's up on drudgereport.com. Rand Paul reveals 6 broken ribs, lung condition after attack from socialist neighbor. So that was part of their November 4th rampage. Congress hears ideas of altering clouds to offset climate change. Oh, McClatchy. I thought I heard of that on INFOWARS, but a long time ago. So that's all coming up. Putin says U.S. wants to disrupt upcoming Russian election. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to this Nexivum cult where the women get branded and have to bring in other sex slaves. And they thought it was a feminist group, but it was run by a man. I wasn't talking about this group a month ago. But in New York and in Hollywood, other places, this is how these work. They'll say it's a women empowerment group, and then it's be run by some beautiful women that they lure them in, and then they put them on hallucinogens, you name it. And I'm not saying this guy did it, but the police are going in. I'm just saying I knew about these type deals, not this one. And, of course, Huffington Post attacked me and said I was horrible. I told women, if you go to a women empowerment group, they go, oh, by the way, just to prove you're into women being in charge, these women are going to put you in handcuffs. You like girls, don't you? And then next, you're being tortured. Or next, you're dead. And they attacked me for that when I broke it down. But now, that was where all this broke. Oh, see, I'm right again. Right there. See? So, there you go. It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Oh, you're a young, beautiful woman. You can trust other women, my dear. Come to our castle. Oh, there's no men here? Oh, no, we don't have men here until you're chained down, until you're begging for your life. Oh, excuse me. Oh, you'll find out later when we brand you. We're liberal, though. You know, Apple, we run companies with suicide nets and forced abortions. But it's okay because Apple's liberal. See, as long as it's liberal, as long as they're pulling your teeth out with pliers and saying it's liberal, I mean, as long as you're shooting up a church and it's liberal, it's all right. And again, there's a whole dark side on the right wing as well. It's all a system of control. Now let me just stop there and get into the main subject. Sibel Edmonds is one of the bravest people out there that I've seen in the last 16 years since 9/11. And I want her, in the few minutes we have before we go to break, just to tell people about herself, even though she doesn't like to talk about herself. She's an author, journalist, researcher. She was a high-level translator in Arabic and Farsi for the FBI with NSA intercepts, CIA intercepts, watching all the different agencies and confirming what Colonel Schaefer and others talked about, going on pre-9/11 and on 9/11. And she exposed the sex trafficking, the weapon trafficking. It ties into Benghazi later. It ties into the Arab Spring. It ties into now her big story we'll get to by the bottom of the hour, but I wanted to give folks some background from newsbud.com. I'm going to tweet this out at Real Alex Jones during the break. It needs to go mega viral. Targeting Michael Flynn and shielding the radical cleric Gulen, Special Counsel Robert Mueller must step down. This is the network that gets tens of millions of dollars a year of taxpayer money to run Muslim schools here in the U.S., yes. And it's an inner fight between Ergun and Gulen, who is a man, not just the group, and all this. And she is a leading expert, and I guess a Turkish derivation, so she can particularly give me the inside baseball on this. Newsbud.com, get this story. This is bombshell and could bring down Mueller, who deserves to be brought down. She got more courage than anybody I know out there. You just keep asking for it in their face. Sibel Edmonds, thank you for joining us.
Hello, Alex. Many thanks for the invite and for this opportunity, because of all the angles, all the ongoing cases right now under this farce Russiagate investigations. General Flynn's case is the case that stands out the most, and it is blacked out the most by the media. You either see false information, completely false information, unanimously put out by the media, and you also see all these blacked out information. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. We at Newsbud have been covering nonstop General Flynn's case since last August. And I just want to start by saying and explaining why General Flynn's case and why Newsbud has been nonstop covering this case of all the different angles and developments that we have been seeing, the farce development.
Sure, I mean, isn't it the window into understanding the different factions and everything?
Well, yes. Well, as you know, I have been nonpartisan. I have been around for 16 years. You just mentioned. I guess we are both getting really old, Alex. I can't believe we've been around this long.
You look great. I don't know about me.
No, you do, and you still have the energy. And again, this is, I don't know, the 7th or 8th time you have given us the platform to put out blacked out stories and documented the stories, not allegations, not sensationalism. But here's why General Flynn's case grabbed my attention starting last August, okay? As you know, I was a whistleblower with the FBI. I became the most gagged whistleblower with all the state secrets privilege invocations and the gag orders. This came during the Bush administration, and it continued into Obama administration. As you know, the Supreme Court was prevented from hearing my case. Well, when I started looking at all the facts on General Flynn's case, the first thing I realized immediately, because I also have an organization, I have 150 national security whistleblowers from the CIA, from the Pentagon. We established this organization in 2003, 2004.
And that's why I'm saying you have so much courage, is you have been a leading person when they were jailing everybody who stood up to them and organized folks. And so much of what we now know about 9/11 and all these other events that helped General Flynn finally break a lot of this up was due to your work. And I'm only explaining that to listeners so they understand how incredibly important this is.
Extremely important, because as you can see, unanimously, the media, they don't present the real case when it comes to General Flynn's case. General Flynn was selected by the Obama administration to lead Defense Intelligence Agency. They looked at this general, impeccable record, right? And I have to also emphasize, he and his family they have been Democrats. So they expected also to have a yes man in the White House.
Instead, they got a hero who helped engineer the whole architecture to stop the Islamic jihad operations. Stay right there. Let's get into why the globalists hate General Flynn so much and how it's a window into everything with Sibel Edmonds. Straight ahead. She's with Newsbud. Stay with us. By the way, this particular article ties into what Sibel's about to break down exclusively here. This came out 6 months ago in the Vault 7 CIA leak that they admitted was real info, how they were impersonating Russians with these CIA programs in live time to make it look like it came from Russia and to put it in the Russian alphabet to then frame Russia for messing with the election. So there it is. CIA wrote code to impersonate Russia, lab, antivirus company, just so much more. Putin says deep state may interfere in Russian election. Well, they've been doing it with the whole Ford Foundation and the CIA and George Soros. It's just crazy. But going back to Sibel Edmonds, one of the biggest whistleblowers, if not the most prolific ever, organizing other whistleblowers now with newsbud.com. Okay, you got the floor. Let's get into General Flynn and why he's the key to understanding the shadow government wars that are going on.
Absolutely. At Newsbud, we broke in 2011, before ISIS brand was created, Alex, the fact that Obama administration, the CIA, together with NATO, they were creating this jihadi groups using Turkey, using Jordan, in order to topple Bashar Assad's government in Syria, okay? And this was before they coined the term ISIS. And we have it there on our site. People can see it. Well, back to General Flynn. General Flynn, as an insider, becomes aware, this is during the Obama administration, that this is what Obama administration was doing. The US government, it was creating these jihadi groups, which later was termed ISIS, and he blew the whistle internally. He went, and think about it, he's a director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. He says, what the heck is this? And he stands out and he stands up against what the Obama administration was doing, opposes all these operations in creating ISIS. And here we are, US government, Obama administration creating, arming, training ISIS in Turkey, in Jordan. And of course, by blowing the whistle, what is the first thing that's going to happen to you? I know it, and I know it based on hundreds of whistleblower cases I have represented, I have studied, I have analyzed. They pushed him out of the administration because he was not being a yes man, okay? After leaving his position, General Flynn went and he said, discussed it with the entire operations Obama administration, and he set up his own private firm and with some clients, some of them international. And fast forward another year or so, he blew the whistle again. And this is for the American public. He is the first US official to go on record unabashedly exposing the world's biggest sleeper terror cell that is headquartered here in the United States. This is Fethullah Gulen. This is this Islamist radical Fethullah Gulen's network, which net worth is over $25 billion. Guess who brought Fethullah Gulen and his network into the United States? In 1998, it was Bill Clinton who brought Fethullah Gulen in a private, a Gulfstream plane, CIA plane, into the United States, while this man was wanted in Turkey and in even some other nations for his terror radical Islamic activities. And Bill Clinton administration gave the rise to this network in the United States.
And by the way, tell folks how much taxpayer money he gets a year. I mean, they say he's worth as much as $200 billion.
That's the minimum. That's the minimum, Alex. That's the known figures. Because can you believe this Islamic terror network owns and operates the largest charter school chains in the United States?
And they get taxpayer money, hundreds of billions. So here we are.
Absolutely.
This has all come out now. You're from Turkish extraction. You're an expert on this. Flynn blows the whistle. The military says we're not going to be Al-Qaeda's Air Force. Rand Paul goes public. Senator Cruz goes public. So they changed the name to ISIS to confuse people. And then now it's ongoing. Now we have the Arab Spring. We have Europe. We have the migrant crisis. Soros is running it. There's a globalist double cross. Trump, from my research, is trying to continue Flynn's operation to kill this. Is that accurate? And where are we going? And tell us about Mueller.
Yes, because he actually, and this is General Flynn, He wrote an article, editorial, and had it published at the Hill publication, basically calling what it is, warning the American public and saying this terror network needs to be stopped. And that basically was the last straw. He had already become a target, a major target, a major hit with the CIA, with the Obama administration, by blowing the whistle on ISIS. This was the last straw by going public as this high-level general with impeccable record, saying this is a terror network. And that was when the real retaliation began to take place.
I was about to say, you know who's in power because you can't criticize them. We've just barely covered Gulen and the hack attacks. All hell breaks loose. The mainstream media comes after us on other issues, and I've been contacted by high-level people. It's off record, so I can't say who. And they said, listen, just drop the Gulen stuff. You can do whatever you want. Stop it. I've been actually threatened, and that's why I know how much courage you've got. I mean, these people mean business.
I have been receiving threats for over a decade because I was the first person in the U.S. to expose Gulen Network, Gulen's name. When I came out in 2006, 2007 on Gulen, nobody had heard of this man's name. They were like, who? She's talking about some kind of a Turkish imam who was in Pennsylvania, and nobody wanted to take it seriously. But when you have this general with this impeccable record, going on record and publicly...
Who was the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, so he had the bird's eye view of everything. He could see it.
Right, and this is before Obama left the White House. This is November 2016, 3-4 days after this article was published, penned by General Flynn. Obama White House started leaking falsified information, misleading, incomplete information, falsified, to their mouthpiece media networks on General Flynn, accusing him of being pocketed by the Turkish government, and none of those, basically most of those allegations have already been...
Sure, Flynn 100% with his consulting company carried out U.S. interest 100% like he's always done, and done a great job. The whole architecture of bringing down ISIS, making Saudi Arabia stop doing what they're doing, I mean, that's Flynn, isn't it?
Absolutely. And guess what? When I was in the FBI, there were several investigations on Gulen taken up by the FBI, okay, and several field offices, including those in New Jersey, those in Illinois, and of course the main office being the Washington field office. And this is under Director Mueller, right?
And when we come back, we're going to hold you to the end of the hour because it's so important. We're going to get into Mueller now, who's just got his hands in uranium. One, the Russia deals, working with Gulen, and it's all on record just what a monster this guy is. And if this gets out, it could stop Mueller trying to destroy our chance of saving this country. We've got to stop Mueller. Stay with us. Phil Edmonds, probably the most prolific modern whistleblower, organized hundreds of other whistleblowers, broke federal gag orders to expose the 28 pages, Saudi involvement, the 9/11 stand down, the globalist allied with radical Islam out of Saudi Arabia. I know her information helped General Flynn with his inside information come to a lot of decisions General Flynn made. And I'm only pointing that out to say we wouldn't be where we are right now without people like William Binney and her and William Drake or Thomas Drake, all the rest of these folks. Now, before I go any further, just briefly, because we're in a 34-hour broadcast right now that ends at 6 o'clock tonight, I need to be able to fund our operation. I'm not going to belabor this. We have great supplements, great fluoride-free toothpaste. We have great T-shirts. We have great books. We have great films. We have amazing water filtration, amazing air filtration, whatever the best systems are, according to Consumer Reports, at a good price. We get it. We discount it. And quite frankly, I'm so sick of Amazon and all the government financing it gets and the monopoly it's being given and all the subsidies that I try to give them a run for their money. I mean, we sell a lot of stuff lower than they do. And it's pretty crazy because sometimes we're making $5 on things. Some of the products we've got out right now, it's loss leaders because I want you to try them and see how great they are. Two of the loss leaders with free shipping store-wide right now are the Biome Defense Probiotic. That's 50% off and free shipping. We lose money on that. It's going to sell out in the next few days. All apparel, 50% off to spread the word. to meet like-minded people and defend the First Amendment. Molon Labe, come and take it, right down to Trump's my president, right down to Hillary for President 2017. We have Secret 12, high-quality methylcobalamin vitamin B12, highest rated out there by third-party groups, 50% off and free shipping. Super Blue fluoride-free mouthwash with colloidal silver and iodine, 50% off free shipping. We lose money on that one, but I want you to try it. DNA Force back in stock after months of being sold out, 25% off with free shipping. You cannot beat that. So important for yourself, your children, your family. It's been proved to detoxify cells with the BioPQ Cube, the CoQ10 and others. It is the best product out there at 1/3 the cost of stuff sold in medical clinics. So that's our true nutraceutical level product. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. And if you sign up for auto ship, you get an additional 10% off. Again, free shipping is running. But I've got to end that. I'm going to end free shipping tomorrow. And I'm going to end these specials tomorrow. And I really am. Because a lot of them are lost leaders. And again, these are best-selling products. But I know a lot of you are on the fence and have never bought the products. Our regular customers are amazing. But I want people that haven't tried X2 or haven't tried Brain Force or haven't tried what vitamin B12 does. Way more energy than a cup of coffee at night if I'm tired. And it's all healthy and it's good. So InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or 888-253-3139. And you've seen the congressional hearings last week in the Intelligence Committee saying we want InfoWars shut down. And the head of Twitter says, sir, we shut them down at lunch. We were just pointing out that they're bringing in these Islamic terrorists. They're protecting them. And that de Blasio had been soft on terror, and that Trump was right. And they called that a fake story. It was #1 on Twitter and banned it. I mean, this is like really dangerous. Gagging whistleblowers, SWAT teaming William Binney, SWAT teaming Manafort. They're trying to put Flynn, reportedly, they've got a sealed indictment on him, but they're afraid of what he may say about classified stuff. This is real brinksmanship. And then Mueller comes into the situation. Mueller, let's talk about some of his background, Sibel Edmonds. From you were in the FBI when he was the director of it.
Yes, and this I tell you what we are seeing here, it basically makes McCarthyism era light, because this is like a souped up McCarthyism right now we are witnessing. Imagine my shock when I saw that Robert Mueller was appointed as the special counsel in this case. And the same Robert Mueller, who during my case, he's the Robert Mueller who put gag orders in my case together with Attorney General Ashcroft. You remember all that, Alex. With all these FBI files and cases that Robert Mueller was covering up on Gulen's network. There were FBI agents. They were FBI agents not only in Washington's field office, but also in Chicago field office, in Patterson field office, who were blowing the whistle on Mueller internally, saying he's quashing our investigations. He's taking these terrorism and criminal investigations on Gulen and his network, and he was transferring them into counterintelligence. And when I was the one who stepped outside the FBI, went to Congress, went to IG, it was again this same Mueller who invoked the state secrets privilege with Ashcroft, placed gag orders to protect this terrorist network. So imagine my shock when I see, lo and behold, it's Robert Mueller. And Robert Mueller dug and could not find a single thing on General Flynn, linking him in any way to any nefarious activities or operations with the Russians. So he expanded this farce investigation.
Now to not maybe filing the right paperwork.
Into Turkeygate.
Exactly. Turkeygate. It's now his Russia investigation.
Turkeygate. When it comes to General Flynn, it's Turkeygate. And nobody in the media, look, President Trump said, fine, go and do the investigation in a limited scope. Anything that had to do with so-called allegations on
But now it's moved on to Turkey and him consulting for the Turkish government on how to try to stop ISIS. I mean, what he did was totally legal. So it's amazing.
And guess what? not only, we know the left, the media. Recently, we put out an expose on the Young Turks at News, but, you know, they have changed modus operandi, Alex, because it got so much publicity when foundations like Soros was directly funding them, right? So now the Clinton camp, they get their allies, they have them set up shell companies. These are bogus shell companies. They funnel the money to the shell companies, private companies, and have the private companies funnel money to media organizations.
Let's talk about the Young Turks, because for people that don't know.
Turks on this. They are just only one of these left media organizations who are now implementing the new modus operandi.
And if you wonder why they're all so pro-Hillary and are covering up everything, it's because they're paid by Hillary and paid by different Islamic...
And the shell companies created so they can have Hillary camps money funneled. They got $10 million from this company, from this fake shell company that was established 3 months before they gave $10 million to the Young Turks. This is how much money they are spending on
propaganda. And again, the Young Turks are a Google-funded, controlled, Democratic Party, Soros-funded disinformation operation who literally, they were in my YouTube in 30 seconds after they confronted me and I went on their show. They gave the orders and they shut down my YouTube themselves to show their power. They are literally in bed with Google.
Oh, absolutely. And they have been. That guy, the buffoon, Cenk Uygur, has been after me since 2004. But back to the Flynn case, and I'm going to break 2 news pieces here on your show. It hasn't been out. Nobody has it. We have developed our own sources. With our very limited budget, we have been traveling, interviewing people. So I have 2 breaking news to break during this show. But Mueller, I can't believe, not only the left media, Young Turks, all the ones funded by the Clinton camp, Soros, but even the more conservative or so-called conservative media outlets, they haven't touched this case with General Flynn, with Mueller's real conflict of interest. Yes, he has huge conflict of interest on Uranium One, which again, we were reporting on that 2 years ago during Malheur protests on Uranium One and Clinton Foundation and Mueller's role. But in this case, by going after Flynn, not finding anything else, trying to punish a whistleblower who blew the whistle as a whistleblower.
Sure, it ought to be Obama and all of them in trouble for running Islamic State and Al-Qaeda. Stay there. Let's come back again to the new breaking news on Mueller and more. And then I want to do one more little short segment after that, getting into recapping all the stuff you exposed earlier, those intercepts back on 9/11. Sibel Edmonds is our guest. Check out her website, Newsbud. The big thing is when you're watching us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, they admit they're blocking when we become #1, it going to the front pages, and they're blocking people who are subscribers from seeing it. You have to hand share it to get this information out. But we've come so far, we're beginning to win. And we're forcing Google and Facebook and Twitter to admit they're censoring. We've talked to top telecommunications and antitrust lawyers, as well as civil rights lawyers. Project Veritas video of the YouTube executive admitting they're censoring INFOWARS and discriminating. Congressional hearings where Twitter and others admit to censoring us. They have the head of operations. Sir, we saw INFOWARS was #1 at lunch. The head of Twitter is on lunch blocking us. And what is it? It's stuff like you're seeing right now. They know we have the big guest on. They know we have William Binney on. They know we have the whistleblowers on. They know we're exposing all this. The FBI picked up a whistleblower we had on 2 days ago. He doesn't want his full name put out. I had him on. I know who he is, formerly in Army Special Operations and now in a private capacity, about the civil war going on in the Middle East and how with Yemenis war it's spilling over to the U.S. He didn't give out any classified info. He just gave, as a citizen, his analysis. The FBI grabbed him. So this isn't a soap opera where they're running and they're spies and then, oh, you're watching it and everybody makes a big deal out of it. This is just real. We're doing it. So please go to InfoWarsStore.com. We've got free shipping running. It's a marathon to pay for the new studio that we're about to show you that we've been building and hiring new crew and expanding. We're doing Lost Leaders at 50% off on a lot of our best sellers. because we want those of you on the fence that have never tried Super Male Vitality or the fluoride-free toothpaste or all the other products to be able to use it and see how great it is, to experience it for yourself. But these specials are going to end tomorrow. 50% off and free shipping on most of our best-selling products, Super Male, Super Female, Biome Defense, all apparel, all the T-shirts, all the ball caps, all the sweatshirts, Vitamin Mineral Fusion, 50% off, Secret 12, 50% off, Super Blue Fluoride-Free mouthwash with the colloidal silver and iodine, 50% off DNA Force, back in stock after almost 4 months sold out, 25% off, and so much more. Thank you for supporting free speech. Thanks for defending the Republic, and thanks for helping build the platform now that is fearless. But we're building an even bigger studio, hiring more crew, launching more syndicated TV and radio shows. We are all in. And the more they attack, the faster we grow, and the faster we just accelerate to ramming speed. So it is on right now. We are not playing games. Sibel Edmonds, let's get into the two big breaking news pieces here.
Alex, we have been experiencing the same kind of attacks by the Twitter. So they are really getting aggressive. We have been experiencing it with YouTube as well. It amazes me how much monopoly the deep state has, the other camp. And before I forget, I would like to mention that it is really disappointing how some of these attorneys, whether from the White House or even in this case with General Flynn's attorneys, they keep going in this defensive mode instead of really going in on offense because they have so much ammunition. I tell you what we have gathered, what we have put out there on Director Mueller, just the conflict of interest that is huge on Fethullah Gulen, on all the quashing of the facts that dates back to Clinton era, after getting to office in 2000, 2001. They can use this information and have him step down. But it's really disappointing to see that they keep going into this defensive mode, because I know of several veteran, highly decorated FBI agents. If subpoenaed, they would testify on how Robert Mueller, due to what he was doing as the director of the FBI, cannot preside as the special counsel in this case. It's a slam dunk case. It's not allegation. It's documented. But I don't know. I don't know where they are. I don't know why they're going on defense mode, because from what I'm seeing, the other camp, not only they have been going on this constant offensive, but on top of that, they have been leaking like sieve, but leaking misinformation, lies. And here is one of my breaking news here. Some people involved with cases of General Flynn, because there are several cases they have concocted, none of them legitimate case. They have issued gag order, and they are preventing them now from tweeting. Okay, that's one piece of information to tell you how much of one-sided power we are talking about here. They have been issuing gag orders on these people who are the targets of these investigations. And in this case, with General Flynn's case, you're looking at a completely wrongful case, because there is nothing. There is not a single criminal case.
Wow, so be clear on that. Specifically, who's been issued gag orders?
I cannot right now name the individuals, but there have been people connected to the case who have been tweeting legitimate.
You're saying outside of Manafort and his deputy, because we know those gag orders were issued.
outside Manafort and his deputies, okay? This also applies even though no indictments, no arrest warrant has yet, been served.
That is simply amazing. Not only are they banning and blocking Roger Stone on Twitter, who they're accusing of being a Russian agent, I mean, that they silence you as they demonize you, and now we learn they've done it to I guess you're saying Flynn. I mean, this is just unbelievable.
How are you supposed to defend yourself against misinformation? We actually put out information and had people, some of these publications, retract information. One of them was this guy, this journalist, Chuck Ross, who got the documents from the White House
this is Obama White House, in November 2016, before Obama left the White House, he was handed all these lies on General Flynn. He published, after all the pressure from us and from some of the other sources, they retract. But you know how they retract? These little tiny funds.
Exactly. Well, it's just like Comey lied and said he wasn't leaking info. Then turned out he was the leaker. But he goes, oh, I gave it to another journalist. I gave it to a professor. Sibel Edmonds is our guest right now. AmazingNewsBud.com. Everybody's got to get this out. But what a bombshell. You were in the FBI, high-level counterterrorism, as everybody knows. You're saying you have FBI sources who are ready to expose Mueller right now for his connections and conflicts of interest with the Gulen network, or what other areas?
For example, if subpoenaed, whether these FBI agents or myself, we can name the files because they have multiple investigations on Gulen dating back to 1999. Okay, this is the terrorist, radical terrorist, Mullah Fethullah.
And by the way, let's be clear. It was folks leaking info
by Bill Clinton.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. And we white-collar crime, under terrorism investigations, under counterintelligence and espionage investigations since 1999. And it was Bill Clinton's Janet Reno's office that started quashing this information. And it was afterwards Robert Mueller who quashed this information. And now he's using what he did, okay, and this is General Flynn, by standing for the Americans' interest against the terrorist interest.
Sure, we know the whole Saudi Arabia network, the globalists, are hooked in with Bush Sr., Obama, the Clintons, Mueller. They're all bagmen making money. What is your intel on the raids and the shakeup in Saudi Arabia? Our intel is it's cutting off the globalist connections and power in Saudi Arabia they were using back here in the U.S., and that Trump is rolling up these networks.
We've been getting conflicting reports on that. I know there are some factions who are trying to link this to Iran, okay? And they want the after effects, let's call it aftershocks, spill over into what's taking place and what's going to take place with Iran. I think it's a bit too early to tell, but we had a roundtable discussion at NewsBud about three and a half months ago, and that was one of the predictions I made because people were talking about the 28 pages. I said, Saudi Arabia is also on the list, you know, and we are going to have regime change there, or the window dressing regime change there. It's too early to tell. But speaking of that, let your viewers, your listeners know about another breaking news.
Gotta go to break.
You won't find it.
Stay right there. We'll be back in about a minute and a half with Sibel Edmonds with the other big breaking news. I'm Alex Jones, newswars.com, prisonplanet.com. We're in the middle of a 34-hour broadcast right now. Our regular show time's 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central, but we're in the middle of a 34-hour global transmission, the one-year anniversary